Happy New Year, Beacon. We begin our sacred hour together with the words of E.B. White, who said, "I arise in the morning, torn between a desire to improve the world and a desire to enjoy the world. This makes it hard to plan the day." These words are so true, and I wonder, Beacon, if you are feeling pulled in different directions this morning, we invite you just to release that tension and for at least 1 hour, listen to a deeper call this morning.
We gather, beloved, from our distant houses, apartments, in a living room, a studio, at a table where we broke bread, making coffee rising up like sun's rays, even perhaps past snow. Returning, separate but connected in these stories, notes, and meditations. Together, awaken our vision of tomorrow, inspire our collective voices, embody our most steadfast commitments. Come, Beacon, shine brightly here on the cusp of a new day.
Good morning. My name is Misa, Iwama, and I'm the Director of Music Ministry, and I'm delighted today to welcome Anand Nayak. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Misa?
I'm great. So many at Beacon know Anand as the guitarist for the band Ronnie Arbo and Daisy Mayhem, and that group has performed at the first service of the new year for the past 3 years. But this year, thanks to the miracle of the internet, Anand is coming to us from Massachusetts, and we are so delighted to connect with you. I understand you have a very long family history with Dr. Tuli Patel. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That's right. Yeah, the short version is that our grandparents were colleagues and friends long time ago in the Indian Civil Service, and then when I was around 13 years old, Tuli came to Boston to go to school, and she stayed with my family, and kind of instantly, like within 5 minutes of walking in our front door, was kind of like another older sister to me, and has always been. So.
I think that she is a great older sister to a lot of people in many ways. So I know that we are so grateful that you're here and that we can have a service in this new way. So how are you feeling?
Well, I am glad that 2020 is over, and I'm going to let the words of Nina Simone say the rest. All right. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. Yeah, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. Ooh, and I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Dragonfly out in the sun, you know what I mean, don't you know? Butterflies all having fun, you know what I mean. sleep in peace when day is done. That's what I mean. And this old world is a new world and a bold world for me. Yeah, yeah. Stars, when you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, freedom is mine, and I know how I feel. It's a new day, it's a new dawn, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good.
Thank you, Anand. It is so good to have you with us this morning and to once again ring in the new year with you. Bonne année. Beatrice Berry said, music does more than soothe the soul. It brings balance to the mind, body, and spirit. Thank you for sharing your gifts with us.
It's my pleasure.
We now welcome Jennifer, Andrew, Brandon, Emilia to light our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith.
Good morning. I'm Jennifer.
Andrew.
Brandon.
And Amelia.
This morning we light our home chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, with these words.
We light this chalice for the light of truth and reality, the warmth of love and compassion, and the fire of commitment and promise. We light this symbol of our faith as we gather together.
It's hard to balance, isn't it? Whether it's balancing on a balance beam or along a cliffside, or if you're trying to learn to ride a unicycle, balancing is hard. Can you remember when you learned to ride a bike without training wheels for the first time? There was maybe a little feeling of butterflies in your stomach, alongside anticipation and excitement. It took focus and concentration and determination. You had to forget about your fear of failing and falling and how you might look to others. Not to mention, you had to set aside piano lessons or whatever homework that had to be done or what might be for dinner. Juggling balls in the air has got to be one of the hardest things to do. Although our bodies and feet might be balanced when we juggle, how do we keep all 3 balls, sometimes more, in the air? It might not be a big deal if one of our juggling ball drops, but what if you were juggling a glass ball? Or even more dangerous, a knife or fire? Kids, don't try this at home. Sometimes adults feel like they're dropping too many balls. I wonder if you feel like that too. And what if one of the balls is more delicate than the others? For me, it feels like my family and my health are balls made of glass, and I have to take really good care that that particular ball doesn't crash and shatter. Or that if I drop it, it might hurt someone else. So what do? Well, I sometimes set my other balls down, my work or my friends, and certainly all the distractions of the internet. I have to set them down and focus on keeping the ball of my family and health in my focus and taking good care of it. For us as Unitarian Universalists, an important part of seeing each other as human beings. Sometimes we forget that others are also juggling balls in the air. They might even have many more balls than we do. When we think of others as humans who are engaged in the same acts of balance as we are, we become closer to them as the differences between us melt away. And maybe we can help one another juggle by not creating unnecessary distractions and allowing the juggler to focus. And of course, it helps to practice. Always practice, practice, practice. You might even call it a spiritual practice, remembering that we learn as much from dropping balls, maybe even more, as we do from our perfect balancing. As you go through your week, think about all the things you are juggling. Perhaps you can make a list. Then take a look at it. Is one of the things on your list, represented by a ball, more delicate than the others? Would it potentially hurt another person if you were to drop it? Then look up from your list and look around you. Who else is juggling right now? A parent? A teacher? One of your siblings? A friend? What can you do to help them focus on the balls that they're keeping in the air? Asking questions and wondering is also an important practice for Unitarian Universalists. Let us keep traveling on the road of discovery and exploration. Here ends our time for all ages.
Every Sunday at Beacon, we invite you to light a candle of joy or sorrow, celebration, or grief. Today, you might want to light a candle for a new relationship or a long-standing relationship that has supported you over the last few months. You may want to light a candle to acknowledge a hard road ahead or to honor a hard road that you've traveled. We invite you to light a candle in your homes. And if you'd like, you can raise a name up in the chat. We also want to light a candle of witness for Toby Wiggins. Toby was a native of Delaware and a graduate of James Groves Adult School in Wilmington. As an adult, Toby converted to Islam. His family reported that Toby liked to fish, he liked to do sports, travel, and just hanging out with his friends. His greatest love was for his 4 children. Toby was killed by FBI agents in Alabama, where he was staying after being charged in a case in North Carolina. He was 45 years old. We light a candle of witness for Toby Wiggins.
I heard the bells on Christmas Day, the old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And thought how as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men, till ringing, singing on its way, the world revolved from night to day. A voice, a chime, a chant sublime, for peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then from each black accursed mouth the cannon thundered in the south, and with the sound the voices drowned of peace on earth, goodwill to men. It was as though an earthquake rent the hearthstones of a continent and made forlorn the households born of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair I hung my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men.
Beloved, we enter into a new year. Some with longing, some with tender trepidation, some with the slight tug toward the year that is passing. Each day a day further from a loved one no more. Each day a day further toward the possibilities. Vaccine, spring, a herald of what endures. We are, we know, the people who long with resolutions for fast change. But this turning of the year is calling, begging for a grounding and intention, a signal sent out, a reminder of who we are deep within. The goodness, the light, the love. So, beloved, in the quiet of these moments in the turning of the year, move for a moment with me, not with the tick of the clock, but with the words of still, small voice. Still, small voice speaking clearly against the clamor and banging like waters returning to shore. What is the intention of your being this moment, this day, for tomorrow? What carries you back to the home of your soul? Like message in bottle, I invite you to tuck the intention into the vessel of your being, repeating this intention for grounding, for clarity, for path and purpose in days to come. With one final intention, that the knowledge that a greater love holds us each and all might hold our beings and weave these words into hope, into a new day. For that day, indeed, blessed may we be, as we affirm the intentions of our separate and yet interwoven beings. Amen and Ashe. Perhaps you've heard us speak before about being a keeper of the flame, of tending to the flame. This language draws from our imagery and our symbol of the chalice, a single flame inside of a cup that was birthed in the midst of the crisis of war and genocide and great struggle. This flame over the years in Unitarian Universalism has come to symbolize a call to live out our deepest purpose, shared mission. Here at Beacon, our mission is quite simple: to be radically inclusive, to feed the human spirit, and to heal the world. Easy enough, right? Of course, it's a tall order that can't be completed individually, but rather is a call to the community, to the collective. As I speak these words to you, already volunteers have arrived at Beacon to lead a program we call Summit Warm Hearts. Under the leadership of Beacon member Stacy Dollier-Lees, they ensure a hot meal each and every day, the basic necessities that one needs not only to survive, but to feel seen as fully human. For our neighbors who are experiencing houselessness, it has also meant a program ensuring shelter with partnerships with Bridges and Grace, regular services and wrap-around care for the body, for the mind, and yes, the spirit. Summit Warm Hearts goes to the core of our mission, and it's just one example, beloved, of the ways in which Beacon again and again has looked out across what some would call impossible and seen what our faith calls us to know is possible. With Summit Warm Hearts, when we first began the program, many of the individuals that we have created lifelong now, I believe, relationship with, we were told they had been houseless for so long that little could be done. We were told it was impossible to set up an emergency network to create long-term stabilization and to affirm that every human being has a right to housing, to water, to food, to the fullness of their humanity being recognized. Well, we refused to accept that those terms were impossible. And each and every day, Stacy and a whole crew of volunteers has lived into what our faith teaches is possible. I want to thank you this day as we're ready to take the offering, for truly inhabiting the possible with us at this beacon, for tending the flame, for being a keeper of the faith. Let's keep the faith in 2021, and let us continue to magnify the light as we build this beacon. In a moment, instructions will be given on the screen as well as in the chat for how you can make a donation to Beacon to help us collectively deepen our commitment to this mission of radical inclusion, feeding the human spirit, and healing the world. Thank you so much for your generosity, for your feeding of the flame, and for being a part of our beacon.
Used to think that prayers were meant for asking, a plea for some solution from beyond. On my knees expecting restitution, like a pebble turned to ripples on the pond. But the answer always came back in a tangle, like vines climbing up the side of a hollow tree. Now I think that looking up and wondering is just the place I really wanna be. I'm getting closer, closer every day to the river flow within the river flow. I'm getting closer, closer every day. I'm getting closer to what I do not know. Behind the words of every conversation, the certain and the definite give way to what becomes of being in this body. If we can't believe it's where we're gonna stay. And I always wondered why there was a reason that we could not reach or find the words to say. So I'm on the road from race to revelation, from destination to this very day. I'm getting closer, closer every day to the river flow within the river flow. I'm getting closer, closer every day. I'm getting closer to what I do not know. Searching seeds will float down from the mountain, some to sink and others to decay. But in their company, a few survivors will ride that ragged road to their only way. I'm getting closer, closer every day to the river flow within the river flow. I'm getting closer, closer every day. I'm getting closer to what I do not know. I'm getting closer to what I do not know.
Balance. I'm not really a fan of it. In fact, I'm quite cynical about finding balance in life. Maybe it's because I have fallen off my share of balance beams, I'll admit it, even a few ropes courses. So when it comes to finding balance in life, I admit that I find it more a tool of consumerism than a real life goal. It seems to be put there to create an inner need to purchase self-help books or best life courses. Find your work-life balance in 5 magical mythical steps. Bah humbug, I say. Balance sells because we are all so desperate for it. On one particular day in 2020, I was seeking just the right tool to balance my calendar, my time. And my coach said, "You know, Emilie, time is like a bank account. There are a certain number of hours in the day, just like there are a certain number of dollars in your bank account, and that's all you've got. Balancing your calendar," she said, "is a lot like balancing your checkbook. And if you want it to come out even, you can't take more out than you've got." Friends, I was skeptical of this advice, probably because, I'm so much better at balancing my checkbook than I am my calendar. But then Meg Barnhouse backed my coach up. Before she became a minister, Reverend Barnhouse worked as a waitress right here in the great state of New Jersey. And that is what she called herself, as servers were called waitresses and waiters at the time. The indomitable Meg would rush around the restaurant, juggling not balls, but instead tiers of cups and piles of plates and handfuls of knives, while remembering the countless orders that were going through her head, not to mention at which table, what exact person had an allergy. Talk about balance. How do servers make it look so easy? They don't, beloved. That's the truth. Not until they learn one important phrase. Sorry, hun, that's not my table. If a server takes on too many tables, plates crash. If we take on too much, we crash. I'm afraid it's just that simple. But that's not what we are taught, is it? We are taught that we have to take it all on and that we can. If we're not, then we're just not getting it right. Is it just me, friends? Is it just me? Please, I need to hear you over here. If you were here in the sanctuary, you'd be talking to me. And then there's that if we don't take it all on, seriously bad things will happen. That's the fear. That's what we're told. I can't even dream up all the fears that are in your head. I've got my own steady supply of fears, even when I'm detoxing from social media. So, beloved, how many tables are you working on right now? Seriously, how many tables? How many hungry customers are demanding your full attention? I invite you to write them down. Take an inventory this week. Do it. And then repeat after me. Sorry, hun, that's not my table. Practice that line in front of a mirror. You can say it with kindness. That's what the sorry and the hun are for. Or you can add a little attitude if you want. Sorry, hun, that's not my table. Now, I want you to close your eyes and imagine a person in your life who does this well. I remember the first time I saw someone say something like, not my table, and I thought, no way, you can do that? Have you ever had that experience? It is blissfully liberating. Imagine your person now and hold them in your mind's eye because they are your teacher. That's why I have the ever-wise Meg Barnhouse on my wall of teachers. The first step, then, to true balance is learning how to say no. It's realizing how many tables you can actually manage, not how many tables someone else can manage and that you should be able to as well. How many tables you can manage. How many hours you've really got in the day and how much money is truly in that wallet of yours. Followed by a powerful, solid no. Reverend Barnhouse writes, I need to have a surly waitress inside myself that I can call on when it seems everyone in the world is waving an empty coffee cup in my direction. An inner waitress who looks at them, keeping her 6 plates balanced and her feet moving and says, sorry, hun, that is not my table. So, beloved, you've got to figure out your relationship to no in order to learn about balance so that the plates don't come crashing down. I'm going to level with you. It's not going to be easy. You and I, we're pretty crap at saying no. We're yes people. We believe in the power of yes. We're Unitarian Universalists. We've got an inner power within us, and we have got abundant love available to us. No is not really a thing for us. I mean, so that if we are actually yes people, it means that we've got to figure out not only our relationship to no, but also our relationship to yes. Do we have to say yes to everything? What if balancing required us to say a deeper yes to fewer things? As a young girl, I loved scrapbooking, weaving together paper, beautiful paper, and photos, ticket stubs, quotes, postcards, in order to create a visual tapestry of my life. As an adult, I have transformed this love of scrapbooking into a once-a-year, day-long ritual. Each January, I create a poster-sized collage. You've seen my collage, Beacon. During most of my COVID sermons, you've seen it on the wall behind me. I give myself typically about a day or 2 days to create it. Most often it is created while I'm on retreat. I have to kind of get away from everything. And it begins for me with a question. What am I going to say yes to this year? What am I going to say yes to? And then I seek out a word or a short phrase, really short phrase. My word for 2020 was clarity. So that makes me have to warn you. Be careful what you wish for. 2020 was like having the whole year looking through a magnifying glass, both on a personal, spiritual level, and as you know, on a collective level, as a collective community. The clarity with which we saw things took our breath away. Whoa, we've got some work to do. It meant, this collage, this word, it meant that I had to say a deep yes to the relationships, the spiritual practices, the anti-racism work that offered clarity. And it also showed me when I needed to say, sorry, hun, that's not my table. And I have to tell you, it was easier to say no because I knew it allowed me to say a deeper yes, a yes to the things that are vital for living life right now. Now, when I say no to people, I don't talk about the no, I talk about the deeper yes. And people hear me out. In fact, I believe they even respect me. The collage, that thing that I wake up to and the thing I see right before I fall asleep, that's my guidepost for the year. I give my word, my deep yes, I give it images, beautiful images and texture. I give it color. And I make sure that my teachers are right up there. And then I live out that word or phrase all year long as best I can. My phrase for 2021 is fierce love, because I think I need it in 2021, and because I know that the world needs it in 2021. Not a nice love, not a sweet love, not a do everything for everyone love. A fierce love. A love that knows its lines in the sand. A love that speaks up when fear comes knocking. A love that breaks down walls. A love that speaks truth even when those truths are hard to hear. A love that says, yes, we're enough, and we have got work to do. A love that doesn't mind failing over and over again. A love that knows when I need to say, I am sorry. A love that knows when it's time to work toward repair, even when we don't know what repair looks like. A fierce love. I need to live into this year for myself, for my relationships, for my children, for all of us at Beacon. Beloved, my collage is almost complete. But that's the thing. You finish the collage, and you know that your work has just begun. What is your word for the year, Beacon? Take a moment to consider that. Put your word or tiny phrase in the chat. If you need more time to consider it, send it in an email to me later. Post it on your social media and make sure to tag me. How will your word or phrase teach you to say yes a deep and resounding yes? And how will it teach you to say, that's not my table? Friends, I still say humbug to balancing, to keeping everything even and measured. I am more aligned with Sylvia Boorstein, who wrote, "Equanimity doesn't mean keeping things even. It is the capacity to return to balance in the midst of an alert, responsive life. I don't want to be constantly calm. The cultural context that I grew up in," she says, "and the relational life I live in both call for a passionate, engaged response. I laugh and I cry, and I'm glad that I do," she says. And she says it in a book that I love called Don't Just Do Something, Sit There. So Beacon, we are yes people. We are people of boldness and power within us. And we are people of abundant love all around us. That is who we are. And if balance teaches us anything, it's that we say a deep and abiding yes to. And when we need to look somebody in the eye and to say in our best Meg Barnhouse voice, "Sorry, hun, that is not my table."
Happy New Year, Beacon. Thank you. I really wish I could be there with you in person. Let's hope for a better year next year. There's a time for giving what you got. Heaven knows there's a need. There's a line between giving what you got and trying too hard to please. Sometimes I know where I am. Sometimes I feel free. But there are times when that line goes right through me. There are ways of living in this world that lift the laboring heart. There are ways of living in this world that tear the place apart. Sometimes I feel a smile begin. Sometimes I let it be. But there are times when that line, it goes right through me. And if I'm two, who will be one? If I'm weak, who will be strong? If I'm fake, who will be real? And if I'm numb, who will feel? There's a place of forgiveness between the two of us. There's a place of forgiveness in a place of deep distrust. Whether it's your place or mine, doesn't matter much to me. If we can hold that line, that's the place I want to be. And if I'm two, you'll be my one. If you're weak, I will be strong. If I'm fake, you can be real. And if you're numb, I will feel. If I'm one, we can be two. too. If you miss, I will aim true. If I'm no, you'll be my yes. If we fail, we'll put it in the past. We'll put it in the past.
Let us breathe together, Beacon, placing our hands on our hearts. Would you do this with me? Place your hands right there and feel its tender beat. One breath, one body, one beacon. All of us from our different points on this, our earth, our home. And as we go out into our lives, whenever loneliness comes a-knockin' this week, we will breathe and we will remember this moment. Whenever overwhelm leaves us frantic this week, we will breathe and remember this moment. Whenever the system seeks to tear us apart this week, we will breathe and remember this moment. Whenever sorrow wails in the winter wind this week, we will breathe and we will remember this moment. For we, Beacon, are people of spirit. We are people of power. We are people of hope. So shine on, Beacon. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.